Hi. PTCA, Time to PCI story by MDClone. Sharing my screen. Well, what is time to PCI? Time to PCI is the time from PTCA event to the exact second where there is a procedure that put a stent into the vessel, blood vessel of the patient in such a way that a spring open up the vessel. This entire process may take from the time of admission to this exact time of the springs spread up into the vessel should take less than 90 minutes by standard rules, best practice rules. If it happens longer, it may cause problems and risk the life of a patient. So how do I demo this story and problems around it using MDClone platform? So showing here, getting into the query tool, getting into a session that got this information. So most of it will be ready. We can tell other things, we can put more diagnostics, we can put more drugs and so on. And then we add more things like readmission, disease, things like this. And we'll get, so here we put disease in hospital. And in the end, we'll show synthetic data and show the file as it is produced by the system. We can show original file or synthetic file at the end of this process. After this has been done, we can analyze it statistically using our discovery studio. So looking at table 1, distributions, box plot, each one of those columns, understanding the file, density plots, and so on, correlations, other things that may be seen here. But this is for statistical view. If I just want to understand what's going on, I will get into the Data Explorer, MDClone Data Explorer. So this is MDClone Data Explorer. Here, what I see is that each dot is a person. So if I zoom into here, each one of those dots will be a person. If I select a subgroup, so I selected now 62, I can look about the story of each one of them. So this is the story of a specific person with a physician, everything that happened to this patient. Now, if I'm looking at it, I can change the axis here. And the first thing I would like to see is how we are doing with different years. So I just put here 4 years. So I see here in those 4 years, what I can see is that there is a jump in 2016, huge jump in number of procedures that we've done. I don't need the selected one, so so now I see there is a big jump. Now I may be interested if there is in this jump, did I make good or not good process? So I can look about the readmission. So here I will just go and we like to color the readmission. So this is readmission in 30 days. I see if I can look at it, it's the structure of them is quite similar. So probably this is the days by the color. So I'm doing okay. What I mean if about did those people has been deceased? So now look about the deceased, and so I see that this is the number of people that has been a deceased date during the operation, And this is another look that can look on a different path, and now I see that the density here of the dots are higher than here and here. I can simply do this and look at this by selecting NA, and then I can much easier see that the density here is much higher than the density here or here. So more people are dying for my procedures in the last year, much more than the actual cases that I'm handling. And this is a question, why this is happening? Why more people are dying? So I would like to see, maybe the jump here is because I'm treating older people. Okay, so how I can see if I'm treating older people, I may select here some kind of year and month. So here I have the year and month, and I will view as scatter here. And here I will put the age. So here is the age at admission. Okay, so what I can easily see here is that the age is not rising during the years. So as I go forward, I see that I do not have more in a higher age. So the hypothesis that the rise of the people who dies because of age is not the right one. I can look at maybe gender. So those two genders, I can't see something here. Okay, so let's look at the time to PCI during those procedures. So I'll switch this one to time to PCI. And this is the time to PCI. So now I see that I have some people that have much, much higher time to PCI. Those are really, on those areas, usually people that have been admitted before. I can just simply exclude them. So I can take those ones and exclude them outside those. So now I can see the time to PCI by hours, and the line should be somewhere here after 86. I have big population that is higher than time to PCI. Again, I will color this by disease. And now I want to see only the ones that were not deceased. So I'll select this one. Oh, sorry. And no, I want to see only ones that are deceased. So I will exclude those ones. And see, here I see only the deceased one. And now I can analyze it, how this is happening, male versus female. So now I can face it, male versus female. So you see the male and female behavior is totally different. And it may be that one of them is because of my different treatment between male and female. So I can see that I got more with as the age of women becoming higher, the time to PCI as well. With men, I don't see this. Usually this happens because the symptoms of women are much different than the symptoms of men. It's more obvious a symptom of men, and you can see that the time to PCI is not as good with males as with females. So I can really analyze here anything. I can get to a level of a case. So I can select this one and say, okay, just show me this case or this case. I can just show the case by case. And this tool really gives me a flexibility to see population, understand it, and put more and more effort on understanding the data without doing statistical analysis of it. So this is the time to PCI story. So I'll stop sharing this one. And thank you very much for listening.